What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Hoping you are having a great one as always. Happy holidays to everybody out there. We are officially back to Kraken. Took a little break for the holidays, and then recently I was going to start doing some catch up on my unboxings, and I had a little bit of an accident. Got a bit of a boo-boo. Now you might notice throughout my times I'll have band-aids on, a lot of little scratch marks and stuff like that. I'm stupid and I play with wild animals. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. And recently, one of my squirrel friends, Griffith, decided that he wanted to try seafood. So he ran over and got a big old bite of Kraken. Now I'm healing up pretty well at this point. I can pretty much wiggle everything. It's good to go in that regard. But I was out of box opening for a little bit, so it took me a while to kind of unbox things and get back on track. If you're wondering, Squirrel's fine. I changed his name from Griffith to Femto, which if you're a Berserk fan, you're going to appreciate that a lot. And if you're not a Berserk fan, you should probably go watch Berserk. It's on Netflix, and it's amazing. Now, onto this figure. This is a Dao Ma from the series Blades of the Guardians. It is made by Ring Toys. Ring Toys did the Jack the Ripper figure that I've got. And honestly, one thing that I've come to learn with them is they do an amazing job on their accessories and their head sculpts. I love what they do with those. For me personally, I think the looks that they do are outstanding. If you like kind of that anime-ish, animated style, more cartoony look, definitely check this company out because I really think they kill it in a lot of ways. Now, as for where I got him, I actually ordered him from a company called Timewalker Toys. It was my first experience ordering from them, and they knocked it out of the park. I really, really like them. If you're in the States, I highly suggest checking out their website. They do have a storefront, but it's not anywhere near me, so I don't remember what state it's in. But honestly, their pricing's really good. They've got a great selection of stuff. And one thing that I was really impressed with, when I placed the order, almost immediately, I got like a personalized thank you email from the owner, which was awesome. And then you get like a little signed thank you thing on the receipt. So just kind of little touches like that give it sort of that mom and pop vibe. And in all honesty, when I see a store that genuinely seems to appreciate my business, I usually tend to like them and give them more of it. So I would definitely suggest checking them out. They're certainly worth it. I'll drop a link down below. Now, I did unfortunately buy the last one of these that they had there, but have no fear. If you're interested, Big Bad Toy Stores got them available. I'll also drop a link for that below as well. Now, right into the figure, we're going to go to accessories first, which is a little unusual, but I think that's kind of the highlight of this guy. And let's be honest, he just looks so dang cool standing there that I don't want to move him. Now, first up, we got the alternate head sculpt. If you want to give him that super creepy smiling looking look, there you have it. Now, if you haven't seen any of the stuff for Blades of the Guardians, it looks amazing. There's an upcoming animation for it. It's out of China. I think the alternate name for it is Biao Ren. But man, oh man, does it look cool. It's really just a very sort of generic roaming samurai story. He's got a little kid that he protects. But the sword play is phenomenal. It reminds me a lot of like Sword for Truth, Ninja Scroll, that sort of stuff. Maybe not all of the adult stuff that Ninja Scroll's got, but definitely the stabby stabs and the cutties and all of the sword fighting there. The villains look really, really neat. The character himself is cool. I can't wait to see everything once it's animated. You can find issues of the manga online. I guess it's a manhwa since it's Chinese, but definitely check it out, especially if you like samurais. I think you're going to dig it. So you get that cool smiling head sculpt. You do also get what I believe is a wanted poster for him. I sadly can't read that. But he does have a little kid that he kind of accompanies throughout the show. So my assumption is this is kind of the wanted poster for him. Might be a target that he has later on, maybe. I don't know. Could also be like his vaccine passport, if you want to be topical. Just saying, we're throwing that out there. Now, he does come with a huge arsenal of weapons, and that's honestly my favorite thing about him thus far. Granted, I haven't had him for too long, but holy smokes. This, I believe, is the only one that's plastic. I think all of the other ones are metal. We'll kind of get a good up-close look at him in a bit. But he's got this really sweet axe. It's awesome. It's got a cool little chain, so you can sort of have him dual-wield some stuff if you wanted. I might try and weave a thicker wire through there just so I could kind of do a cool, throwing pose with it, something like that. Not too sure. Once you see the swords, you might kind of be in the same boat I am, where it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to use the axe. They do chip it and weather it really, really well. So it definitely looks battle damaged. And that's going to be true with all of the swords. So I'm basically going to say that on this guy, but you can apply that to all of his weapons. And we're just going to fly through these guys because there's a lot of them. He's got 7 different weapons you could choose from. Definitely a hefty arsenal. And he does come with like a little, it's almost like a golf bag carrying case for him, which is kind of cool. That's this one right here. So you can kind of load up all of the weapons inside that, sling it over his shoulder, have him carry it at the side, whatever you want to do. These guys are basically the same, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. It's just a shorter and longer version. The straight blades I think are dachis. I'm not positive on that. If you're super smart and hip with ancient swords, feel free to drop a comment below and let us know what they officially would be. But as you can see, they are amazing. And the blades are metal, which is pretty impressive. They are, for the most part, somewhat sharp. I mean, you're not going to cut yourself with these two. Surprise, one of them later is a little dangerous. But they're definitely really, really neat. And I think they do a great job of, like I said, just kind of weathering the blades. Some of them even look like they've got little chips, which might just be from sculpting, but either way, it just kind of adds to the look of them and makes them seem like they've seen a lot of use, which is really, really impressive. So definitely cool in that regard. And we're just going to kind of keep going on through, because like I said, he's got a lot. This one's one of the more basic blades that he has. Just kind of a straightforward one, nothing too fancy. I do like, I don't know if technically that would be a Suba, because it's not, I don't think it's a Japanese style sword, but I do like that they kind of decorated that a little bit. Honestly, the weapons themselves are just really, really, really impressive. And don't worry, I'll save the best one for last. This one I was super impressed by just because of this cool little handle. Again, the detail that they put into these, absolutely outstanding. Ring Toys knocks it out of the park with their accessories. They really do an outstanding job. And again, it is metal, which really quite surprised me. A lot of things I think will sort of cheapen out and just go plastic, but they definitely went all out on these ones. Also, they did a great job with the hands, which I'll get to in just a moment. Now, this one I thought was really cool. I'm going to see if you can see it, but they've actually got a little sword maker mark on that, which I thought was just a really, really neat touch. And again, just look at the kind of crazy details they got in there. Really, really neat. Absolutely outstanding. Now, the best weapon that he comes with, I honestly started laughing when I pulled it out of the box, and that's part of why it took me so long to get through this video. This thing is massive. It's honestly a knife. Like, it is just straight up a genuine knife that they include here. I might use this to unbox videos down the road. It is sharp. You definitely could sharpen it more if you wanted to. The point's pretty solid. But yeah, it's a straight up knife. I'm very impressed with it in a lot of ways, but also, like, in some regards, I kind of don't know if you should genuinely just include a knife. But that's really what this is. There's no better way to put it. Now, for adult collectors, obviously that's amazing. But if you happen to be silly and get this for a kid, I don't know why you would. It's like 250 bucks. But if for some reason a child were to get this, this is definitely a danger. danger, Will Robinson. Keep that away from him. But even that, you know, the handle, the way it's cord wrapped, really just knocked it out of the park with that. And like I had mentioned, wrapping, this is one of the things that I thought they did phenomenal with. All of the extra hands, you do get 4 extra hands, some closed ones, and then some slightly open. They actually wrapped them like that. They're actually wrapped in like an adhesive tape, which I was just blown away that they took the time to do. I think a lot of places would have sculpted and painted, but now they just full on wrapped them, which is awesome. I can't say anything other than that's awesome. Onto the figure himself. I'm worried I'm going to drop the hat, because I always drop things. So we're going to pull off the hat. He does have A very cool one of these. I don't know what it's called, so I'm not going to call it anything other than a hat. But it does remind me a lot of the scene in Ninja Scroll where Jubei gets his hat split down the middle by Tasai. I might, if I end up not liking the anime, I might just kind of touch it up and kit bash a Jubei, because they never made a Jubei figure, at least to my knowledge. And he's pretty close, so that might be an option. But man, oh man, that just looks so dang cool. It's not bamboo, which is sad. It is plastic. It really does look like it, but honestly, they knocked it out of the park. And the way it's sculpted, it fits perfectly on his head. It sits really, really well. You could use these to tie it down if you wanted. I probably never will. I don't think you need to. And I think it just kind of looks cooler with them hanging around. And the figure itself, honestly, I can't say too much bad about. I'm going to show you the one issue that I do have. Okay, two issues that I do have. Slightly limited movement in his feet. He does have pivots in the ankle, so you can do that. But there's not a lot of like side-to-side play at all. So I was having some difficulty just getting him to stand on his own without the base. He does come with a standard crotch grabber, so it's not the end of the world. But I feel like his feet just could have been designed a little bit better to where you could get him to actually stand up on his own. The boots are fabric, which I actually really like, mainly because those aren't going to wear down over the years. A lot of times the fake leather, pleather stuff, that deteriorates over the years, especially depending on moisture content and things of the like, which is my other issue that I had. Is this belt I genuinely think is going to flake off after a while. So I'll probably put some CLR on it and just kind of make sure to monitor temperature and humidity where I store them, just to try and keep that going as long as possible. Fortunately, it's not overly complicated by any means. So I mean, if it does flake, you might be able to paint it. Worst case, you could probably just get, you know, a leather strap, make yourself your very own if you wanted. Now his outer cloak, they did an amazing job at dirtying it up. Obviously more towards the inside, it's still pretty clean, but these edges, man, they roughed him up good. Definitely gives him the look that he's been outside and seen some stuff. Now they are also wired, which is awesome, so you can do some really fun poses with that. They also added wires to this part of his robes, right along the bottom, so again, you can kind of move those, and on the sides. So you get a whole lot of play with his actual clothing, which is cool, and kind of gives you a ton of different options for posing. Again, you got the really cool hand and wrist wraps. The wrists are also wrapped, so it matches up pretty well. Now, personally, I think they did not do a very good job on this hand. My honest guess is they're probably hand wrapped, so I think you're more than likely going to get one that might not look great. And this one just seems to have an excessive amount of white showing, and there's a few little threads that are peeling. So I think this one could have been done a little better. Not the end of the world. I'm not going to cry about it. Worst case, I can change it. But I am very much impressed. Even kind of colored his fingernails a little bit. So that's kind of fun. Really, really cool there. Now, he does have a lot of motion in the actual joints themselves. Shoulders go pretty dang far up. Believe he's double jointed in the elbow. Oh yeah, definitely double jointed in the elbow. Plenty of room on the wrists, obviously. He's got extra wrist pegs he comes with in case one happens to break. Legs are also basically the same. Ton of mobility, double jointed knees, so you get a lot there. You can do an ab crunch with him if you wanted. He's got a little bit, not a whole lot, mainly going to get the little twist in it. But there is a little bit of play there to kind of give some extra mobility for him. Honestly, the costume, it's all this, really cool cloth. The fabric that they did on my Jack the Ripper figure is similar and has been holding up perfect. So I expect this stuff is also going to last a good long time. That's one thing that I like about more of the cloth material as opposed to the fake leather, is it tends to be really, really durable. But honestly, this guy, I love him. He's not going to be for everybody. He is a bit pricey. $250 ain't cheap by any means. But for me, I like samurais, and I loved all of the stuff that he comes with. I'm digging the comics so far. I really can't wait to see the animation once it comes out. And my honest concern was once it does launch, I think this guy's going to be a hot potato. I think a lot of people are going to want to get him, and I'm worried that he might be sold out everywhere at that point. So for me, I was like, all right, pull the trigger now. Worst case, the anime's bad, and I've got a cool samurai figure. I'll give him a couple lightsabers and pretend he's the Ronin from the Star Wars animation that they did. Or, like I said, touch him up and make a Jubei. Either way, it works. And I probably should have highlighted it a bit, but he does have, as you can see, a more basic standard head sculpt. I guess we'll get a close-up and a goodbye kiss, because that'll pretty much do it for this one. Hope you guys have a great one. Also, if I didn't mention, Big Bad Toy Store does still have them in stock if you wanted. That'll do it for today. Have yourselves a great one.